Hey guys, welcome. My name is Dane, back with the part 2 from yesterday. If you haven't seen my first video, I don't really want to explain a bunch of stuff, but I'll kind of tie it in a little bit. So just go back and watch the one from yesterday. It's called Target Individual Experience, part 1. So this will be part 2 of that. Excuse me. So like I was saying yesterday, at this point, I was really green to this whole gang stalking thing. I didn't understand it. At this point, I'm kind of falling for a lot of the things they're feeding me. And what I want to say and tie this into is we need to be careful what we believe, because for me, they fed me these lies, and then they were able to validate these lies through manipulating things around me. And so I believe this was done by spirits, right? Working through people, in people, and around my surroundings. So it really solidifies these lies, and once you start believing these things, they get built up, right? And it becomes a stronghold. And a stronghold is a military term, right? It's like a fortified refuge of military strength, right? So it's built up, and it's the same thing. The enemy creates strongholds, the devil creates strongholds in our lives, right? Through these lies that are built up until they're so hard to dismantle, because they become wrapped up. And that's what I've learned about this whole gang stalking experience. It's just a web of a little bit of truth and then lies and lies and lies, and it's so hard to sift through because there's layers to it. So like I said, at this point, I've been conditioned to these hand signals that they were showing me and always doing around me, right? And I wanted to know what it was, because it was happening, right? And I didn't know this was spiritual at all. I'm just seeing this stuff, and no one will talk about it. So it created interest in me. I'm what's going on here? I had to figure it out. And then they sent someone to me that she's kind of put me on that direction where I'm focused in on it. And like I said in the other video, I got into some sketchy situations. And then another guy told me about how this block was set up and how it's set up like a Monopoly board. And he had all these answers so quickly that I'm I kind of believed it, and it made sense. And like I said, I was drawn to it because of, I guess you could say, greed or selfishness. He was telling me there's moves to be made on this block, right? And everyone that has a property here can make real money and stuff, which I was seeing that, I was seeing how this block worked, and it did seem like what he was saying was true, Like I said, everything he said was validated by the experience, right? So now I'm just saying all this so I can kind of get you where my head was at, So they got me super focused on these signals and this game board idea that was manifesting in reality. And so this dude was coming around, right? And this guy was supposedly plugged in with these Mexican dudes, right? This Mexican gang. And I don't know, for whatever reason, me and him kind of clicked up, and his dude's I don't know, basically, who knows how much of this stuff was real, right? I don't even know. But this guy was he had all these plans, right? And he's we have a couple moves to make today, and then if this goes well, you're gonna get paid for it, right? Basically. And so I'm I don't really have any other options at this point. At least that's how I was thinking. So I'm okay, all I'm hearing is I'm gonna get paid out for this. And so yeah, that kind of set the scene, right? So I'm rolling around with this guy, and he's telling me we gotta do this, and that. And then the end result is we're gonna get a bunch of dope, and we're gonna start setting up on the block, right? So he's So like we go to like meet some people, right? And it was just like a bunch of sketchy moves that didn't work out, right? So anyways, dude's like, we come back to the block where we were staying, and he's like, okay. He's like, here's the plan. He's like, I'm gonna take a nap. He's like, watch my bike, right? He kept saying that like a weird amount of times, where somehow this watching his bike was like, it was like I knew it was like there was something to it, right? He's like, watch my bike, but make sure you watch my bike. Like he said it like all slow and stuff. So, you know, when you've been through this, like, you know what I'm talking about, when there's something more on what someone says. So like I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, you chill out, I'll watch the bike, then, you know, we'll get back on this move or whatever. So literally, like, in my mind, I'm like, this is my move on this board. Like, I have to watch this bike, and I'm gonna get paid out for this, because this is what they've set me up to believe, basically. And I'm gonna tell you the story, what happened. And this was all like validated by my experience, right? So, like, dude goes to sleep, and this is like the middle of the day. It's a hot day, and like I sit a chair down, and there's a fence in front of me, right? And there's a sidewalk and then a fence, and then there's a parking lot on the other side. And like this block was like pretty active, you know. And like I was like, okay, this is my move. I gotta watch this guy's bike no matter what, right? And so I set up this bike, and then I'm like, I don't want to just set it here, even though I'm looking right at it. Like I ended up tying it up in like 2 spots with rope onto the fence, just so it would take longer for someone to take it, right? And I have a I have like a weapon on me, right? I have like a rock sock, right? So I'm like, no one's taking this bike. This is my move. And as soon as I sit down and I'm like, I started watching the block. This guy comes down the street, right? And he's by himself. All of a sudden, he looks around, and then he stares at the bike, and he's like a little ways away, but he's like looking at it. Then he does this motion, like he's just walking on the street, and he goes like he's riding on a bike, puts his leg up in the air and goes like this, and then looks back at the bike. And I'm like, these guys are actually gonna try to come take this. And so like I'm like, okay, I'm like, come take it then, right? And so I'm like, I'm not letting anyone take this. I don't care. Like I felt like I was getting tested, you know. And like I said, I didn't know where all the lines were at, and what like the whole motive of this is, like, because I thought they were trying to, like, you know, see where my heart was at and all that stuff. And in a way, I think they were, but not in the way that I thought. Like they were definitely testing me, but there's limits to what they can do, right? So anyways, yeah, like, so before you know it, it's like this block just gets super energized, right? And it's like people are coming from every direction, and like a lot of people are like, they're trying to get this bike, right? So I'm sitting right in front of it, and it's like I would have people come up down the sidewalk and be talking to me, right? And I'm like still staring at the bike, like, because like I said, a dude gives this signal like they're gonna come get the bike, and then people start coming try to distract me. So I'm not paying attention to anyone really. Like this dude is just like, hey, you know, did they do the feed over here already? Like he's just trying to get my attention away. And there's people on the other side of the fence, like trying to get close to it and stuff. And I'm like yelling at people. I'm like, get the F out of here, you know, all this stuff. Cause like I think like I'm really getting paid for this. This is like my job. And so like I'm kind of like I'm not playing, right? And so a couple people try to distract me. I don't go for it. My eyes are still on here. This one girl, the girl that I initially put me onto all the signaling stuff, like the one I talked about in the last video. She came down, her name was Amanda, right? And she's like, hey Dane, how's it going, you know? And I was like, what's up, Amanda? I was like, nothing, I'm kind of busy, but what's up? And then so she's like walking down the sidewalk, right? And then she steps right into my line of sight, right? Like right between me and the bike. And then she's like right in my face. And I was like, yeah, can you know, I was like, I can talk to you, but move over here, like I'm doing something. And she's like, what? Like she's acting all dumb, right? What do you mean? I was like, look, move please over to the left. She's like, what are you talking? And I just got pissed. I'm like, check it out. I'm like, get the off the block, right? So anyway, she's like, you're a dick, you know? And then she goes, but the whole time she's doing that, it's like people are coming closer to the bike, right? So they're trying to get me to where my eyesight's blocked and they can cut this rope and take the bike. But like, I'm not having it, right? It's like, oh, you guys are gonna have to hurt me to take this bike. So anyways, like this is probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours where I'm sitting here like swatting people away from it. And I know this sounds like I'm babbling, just telling psychobabble, but it gets to a point here because my point is they confirmed all these like little things. And like, so this is when I knew it was over, like after this lady came by. So this lady's walking down and she has an umbrella, right? And her umbrella is like, she's like swinging her arm and her umbrella is like in her hand. And it's like a summer day, you know, 80 degrees, no umbrella needed. And so I'm like, I see this lady and she's coming closer to the bike. And I look at on the tip of this umbrella and it has like a razor blade on it so she can try to cut this rope. And I go, hey, you expecting rain today? It's like 80 degrees. What are you doing? And she's like, she's kind of like taken back by my question. She's like, this is a sun umbrella. I was like, get the hell out of here. I'm like, get out of here. And she kind of smiles and just like, and so after that, after she left, it was like the whole atmosphere of this block changed. Like people are walking by and they're like giving me head nods and like winking and like thumbs up and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, it's over. Like that's it, right? It's like I just knew, and that's what I'm saying. Like it was like, so it was really strange. But this is the craziest part. So this whole time I'm thinking my move is this, like in my head, right? This is my move to watch this block, and I'm gonna get rewarded on this game board that we're on. I know that sounds super crazy, but so this guy next to me, my tent neighbor that I spoke about in my last video as well, he starts going like this, like like, you know when you want someone's attention and you're not really coughing, like like he's doing that. And so like I go from watching this bike and I look over towards his tent, and he throws this this jacket outside of his tent and holds it there and waves it and then pulls it back. Like it was just a weird gesture, right? So this jacket was a yellow, like it really stuck out. It was like an unusual jacket. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's the next sign. And that's just like everything that I was thinking. It was like, it just like I knew. I'm like, okay, that's the next sign, right? And I went with it. I'm like, I guess I'm looking for something yellow. And I turn around and I'm watching the street now where all these cars are going by. And within like 30 seconds, there's a school bus in the closest lane to me. And so there's nothing else yellow. All the other cars, you know, everything going by, there's nothing that sticks out like this. So it just caught my attention. So I'm watching this bus that's now driving past me, right? It's like where my phone's at. Like I'm close to this street. And this bus is in the closest lane to me. And when it passes, the bus driver had the same jacket on his seat behind him, like as he's driving. And I go, what the heck? That's crazy, right? Like, it's the same jacket the dude just threw out his tent. And so my eyes are now following this bus. And this bus takes its first left, because I was kind of like on this corner in between these two blocks. And so it's driving in front of me, takes its first left, and then my eyes are following it up to the top of the block where there was an intersection, right? So this bus stops at the intersection, and my eyes go with it the whole way, because I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to watch. And then, so the bus is facing this way at the intersection, and the first car here starts going, right? Because the bus gets a red light, so it starts going. And this bus was a yellow moving truck, and this truck was a yellow moving truck. You know, kind of like a U-Haul, but it was a different company. And check this out. So that truck started honking its horn. It goes do 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 do, and it just like a weird pattern with the honking, right? And I'm looking at the side of this truck, and it said "nice move," and then like 3 exclamation marks after it on the side of this truck. Like that was the company name or whatever. And this whole time I've been thinking about, this is my move. And then as soon as I'm like, this move's over, boom, they give me another signal, right? And then this truck says "nice move" on it, and it starts honking its horn all crazy, right? Right after I get all like this validation from the people that were there. And then, so that concluded like the move or whatever, right? And I end up, people start coming up to me and giving me stuff, right? So it's like I was rewarded for taking part in this game. And now I can see kind of like the bigger picture is like they were like grooming me for something bigger, you know? And I feel like some of the people that, so anyways, sorry to bounce around, but someone gave me like a new tent, someone gave me food, and then someone gave me like some weed, you know, that I could sell and stuff. So it's like, it wasn't like I got like paid out for this or anything, but I mean, I didn't have nothing. So it was like me just doing that, like I got something that now I have, you know. Anyways, my point is they were, I believe, grooming me for something, because like I was participating in this game not really knowing what was going on. Like I don't fully know the rules. Like I said in my last video, they wouldn't tell me anything. And like, you know, in the occult works this way, is like they have this hidden knowledge, right? That's like a guarded knowledge, and you have to be initiated and be involved in this, whatever process they want to set up to get this hidden knowledge. And that's like, they kind of started creating this hunger for knowledge about what this was, or at least a curiosity. And I think they were testing me in a lot of ways, like seeing what I would do and what I wouldn't do. And I could talk about that more on another video, because honestly I feel like they were trying to get me to get involved in like the prostitution kind of deal. And I'll explain that cause like, yeah, that'll be another story. I'm already at like 19 minutes, but yeah, that's kind of how the occult works, right? So they set up basically like guardians of this hidden knowledge, right? And but the source is demonic, you guys. So God doesn't work in that way, you know. These are all how all the secret societies are ran and stuff. It's like in layers and stuff, and you have to do certain things to get to this knowledge. And it's like, but the whole time, basically you're giving up yourself, you're giving up your soul to get to this, right? And that's what you see in Hollywood and these things. And it's like all of it's kind of the same in the way all the, like the way the cult works. I've realized it's very similar no matter how it's packaged. It's like it's tailored for certain types of people. So there's a lot more like doors you can go in with basically the same thing behind the doors. So that's just kind of like the insight I've got from it, like now knowing what I know and things like that. But at the time, I didn't connect all these dots. Like, this is just like what I was experiencing, and I'm like, I thought it was just on this block. But as I found out, it's like it didn't matter where I went. This game was following me, you know, because it was spirits, you know. And like, if it wasn't for, you know, the Holy Spirit revealing things to me, like I probably would have fell victim to this in other ways, you know. So yeah, I don't know, like I feel like maybe that was a little off the edge. that's the story that's like I usually don't tell people. I've tried. I wanted to tell a lot of people about this. I thought people were gonna believe me and everything, but it's like, it is what it is. That's what happened, and that's what I understand about it. So let me know if you've experienced something similar. Yeah, and if you haven't, be grateful. So have a good day, guys. I'll check you later.